Welcome back, traders and investors, to Benzinga's pre-market prep, brought to you by MarketFi. I'm your co-host Joel Alconnen, along with Brianna Valesky. We are going to interview Jason Sen. He is technical analyst and director of DayTradeIdeas.com, calling us all the way from Thailand. How you doing today, Jason?
I'm great. Thanks very much.
So your day is has wound down here, and you've taken time to come on our show, and you wanted to talk about the dollar a little bit. It's had a nice run up here. Could you just give us, your short term and long term outlook for the dollar?
I think the dollar still looks good long term, but obviously we've had a huge rally up since I think May. Haven't got my chart.
Okay, we have lost our connection to Thailand here. Uh, Joe, do you still see us connected on Skype?
He is still connected. I think he's just having some connectivity issues.
Okay. Do you want to hang up and try it again, or what's the preferred course of action?
It's attempting to reconnect right now.
Okay. All right. Well, until we get Jason back, we are gonna go live with the Brentster, and he is gonna tell us his favorite thing at his Thanksgiving meal.
My favorite thing at a Thanksgiving meal. Well, let's see. My girlfriend and I were very excited about my dad's mashed potatoes.
I love mashed potatoes too. Are they garlic mashed potatoes?
I don't think he does garlic mashed potatoes. No, I think he just does his own little special blend of herbs and spices there. But yeah, a little mashed potatoes, a little gravy, maybe a little butter 'em up. Oh, that's heaven for me. I'm t-
Brianna looked like she's a mashed potato fan too. There.
I like sweet potato mash.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's where I go.
And everyone's going to get to try my pasta sauce. I did bring noodles with it too. We're doing our Benzinga lunch today. So we're all looking forward to that. But we seem to be having some problems getting Jason back on the line. So we are going to be looking for some symbols out of the chat room here.
Or you could just sing us a song like one Rashad is suggesting. Actually, I don't know if we wanna. I don't know if we
Yeah.
wanna do that.
Would you like Hail to the Victors? No, you guys don't want to. You guys don't want to hear me sing. I can dance, but I can't sing. All right, we need some. We need some.
I, it looks like the chat's quiet, but I do. I always got symbols for you, Joel.
Okay, let's go. Let's
Let's
roll, Brent.
go. One that I was looking at late last night. Actually, was it this morning? No, it was last night. Info blocks. Did you see this one? The ticker is BLOX.
We Ace was talking about that.
They did have earnings last night. They reported Q1 EPS 5 cents on sales of almost 67 million. Street was looking for about 3 cents on sales of 64.5 million, and the guidance was pretty much right in
Ooh.
line. Shares trading up about a buck and a half this morning.
They are trading up. Very nice, Jason.
I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So we were talking about the dollar, and
We were indeed.
yep. So let's pick it up from there.
Okay, yeah, this is the main thing on my radar this week, I've got to say. Dollar index has had obviously a great run since May of this year. I still think that this can continue into next year, but I think that right now we're done. We've hit a 4-month trend line. Sorry, 4-year trend line. This goes back to 2011, right at the beginning of 2011. And I've been warning about this for a couple of weeks now. It's actually taken until now to back away from that. So we've been hovering below this 4-year trend line, and I think we're due for a decent correction in the dollar now.
Okay, and how do you play it? Do you play it, through the outright, indexes? Do you play it through the other currencies? How do you position yourself?
Okay, that's a good question. I personally would be happy if you can just to sell the dollar index because some of the currency pairs are less clear. Although I must say, I think the euro actually looks quite positive just in the very short term. I'm talking days and weeks. I'm not talking any longer than that. I think this is just a correction trade right now. I think the dollar's done on the upside for the next couple of weeks maybe, and we go lower. And I think the euro is backing that up as well. So I wouldn't mind being long the euro at this stage. But as I say, I don't think it's going to last too long. I think this is just a correction in the trend, but I think we're done on the upside for now.
Okay, and what do you think? I mean, is it the technicals that you're relying on? Is it the fundamentals? I mean, the Fed is pretty much, ended the QE, happy with the growth rate, even though we do get a little suspect numbers here on the jobless claims. What is it? The fundamental? Any fundamentals that are leading to this prediction?
No, this is purely technical. I actually try. My job is purely technical. My clients are retail traders and bank traders, and they pay me to just look at technical. So I actually try to avoid fundamental news, which may not be the ideal scenario. So I'm just focusing on, but I do just focus on the technicals. I think the U.S. economy looks great at the moment. So I think in the long run, eventually we will break above this 4-year trend line. But right now, I think it's going to hold us, and I think we're going to get enough of a correction to provide a decent buying opportunity. Who knows? We're trading 87.75, I think, as I look at it now. I think we could see it down around the 86.00 area, which I'm guessing might be a decent buying opportunity.
Okay, tell us about your site, daytradeideas.com, and also about your clients and what you do for them.
Okay, well, I started off doing this for bank clients initially. So my clients are companies like Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch. But I thought this seems to work quite well for the bank clients. My focus is very short term at the moment. I'm looking over hours and days, not rather than weeks and months. But my analysis seems to suit them, and I thought this must work well for retail traders who are generally are quite short term. So I started doing that for the retail trader about 2 or 3 years ago, and so far so good. We've got a few hundred subscribers, and they seem to like following us, and they seem to make a little bit of money. So as long as I can keep those guys happy, makes me happy.
Okay, and you began your career in the options split on the floor of the Life in 1987, and at the age of 19. So you didn't went to college. You went right to the floor and started working.
Yeah, that's right. I was doing O levels and A levels at the time in the UK, and I just wanted to get working. So my dad had traded options for a little while, and that kind of got me interested. And I thought, oh, this sounds like fun. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I went for interviews. I got offered a job as a clerk on the floor, and I didn't actually realize I was going to be on the trading floor. So the first day I've gone down, they've given me a yellow jacket. I've walked onto this trading floor and thought, wow, I didn't realize I was doing this. But it turned out to be enormous fun.
And how was the transition to screen-based trading?
It was okay. I was an options trader, and I think the transition in some ways was a little bit easier for options traders because instead of having to run sheets off in the booth and having the clerk bring the sheets back into the pit and you adjust your skew and figure out your deltas and your gammas and all the Greeks. It was there for you on the screen. As soon as you traded, all your Greeks were updated and you could adjust the skew and your price model was updated on the screen. So in that respect, if anything, it was perhaps slightly easier. But I have to be honest, eventually when I thought I'm going to stop trading options because market making options, you just end up with this book that you're married to forever. You never ever get flat. So I thought I'd give trading futures a try, and I thought that would be relatively easy, having traded options for a long time. But I have to admit, I found it extremely difficult. It was a completely different skill set, which is why I ended up studying technical analysis as a way to try to find an edge in the futures markets.
Is there, let's talk about your mode, your technical analysis. Are you pretty much a candlestick guy? Are you a bar chart, moving averages? Do you get fancy with Bollinger Bands? What are your go-to technical analysis techniques?
Okay, well, over the years, I've tried everything, and unless something really works for me consistently, I just don't use it. So I keep it extremely simple. I am a candlestick guy. I do follow moving averages, but tend to be longer period moving averages only, 100 period, 200 period, that kind of thing. I keep an eye on stochastics. I try not to get too sucked in by them because obviously when a market's in a bull trend and things are a little bit overbought on the stochastics, it doesn't mean anything. So I have to try and remember that in my brain, not get sucked into trying to look for a top when there isn't going to be one. Yeah, candle patterns, candlestick formations, trend lines, very, very basic actually.
Do you hold any positions or stocks like long term in your portfolio, or are you pretty liquid guy?
No, I'm really very much a short-term trader. I've tried trading long-term. It just doesn't suit my style. I've I've managed to hone, I think, quite. I'd like to say quite a decent skill on trading markets in the very short term, getting in, getting out, maybe running in position for 48 hours or so, but not really any longer than that. It works for me, and if that works, I'm fine with it. I'm not a guy who can sit on a trend for a long time. I'm always thinking, wow, this has gone too far, and and I seem to chicken out of running the position.
Jason, do you have any tips for beginner traders?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so even if you're following the best technical analyst in the world, which I'm not saying I am, but even if you know really where the markets are going to go every day, that really is only secondary. The most important thing, I think, is money management and risk management. You can have a great view of the market, but unless you manage your risk and unless you risk a small amount on each trade and you can stay in the game in the long run, then it really doesn't matter how good you are at forecasting the market. You've got to stick to the discipline, manage your money, and manage each trade. You've got to risk a relatively small amount of your account on every trade, and if you can do that and make little bits every day, in the long run, you're going to do very well. This game is not about getting rich overnight.
Okay, one question coming out of the chat here. Your thoughts on the euro heading into 2015?
Well, the euro's been in a pretty steep bear trend since the beginning of May. I don't really see any reason why that won't continue, but as I said a bit earlier, right now I think the dollar's had enough of a run. I do see a correction into the end of the year and perhaps into the beginning of next year, and I would include the euro versus the dollar on that. I think the euro's had a good little bottoming pattern, just a short-term bottoming pattern. I think I haven't got my chart in front of me, but I think the euro versus the dollar bottomed at 123.57 twice in November. That to me looks like a little double bottom pattern. We've already recovered today over the last couple of days, and I think that can continue. I don't think it's going to be a sharp rally. I think this is a bounce in a bear trend, but I think it's got some legs and it can last a few weeks longer.
Okay, we've had Jason Sen on the line. He's a technical analyst and director of Day Trade Ideas.com, joining us on Benzinga's pre-market prep, brought to you by Markify. Jason, thanks a lot. And Brianna, you got one more question in there? Do you want to throw in?
Well, I was just gonna see, Jason, you're from London, so I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on just what's going on with the ECB and Mario Draghi's announcement last week that they might be open to monetary policy and quantitative easing. Do you have any thoughts on that?
As I said earlier, I don't focus too much on the fundamentals. I try to stay focused on the technicals alone, but it seems like they've got no choice but to do something. Europe's in a bit of a mess, and with America powering ahead after their QE measures, it seems like the only way forward for the ECB is to stimulate the economy in some way.
And final, Hurt Capital just stuck one more in here too. Thoughts on the commodity currencies like the Canadian dollar and the Aussie D?
The Aussie D doesn't look so good. It's broken November lows, and I don't like the look of that one. Having said that, I think the dollar could dip a little bit. I don't think that's going to be the case as far as the Aussie's concerned. And actually, the Canadian as well, I have to admit, doesn't look the strongest currency that I can see against the dollar. So perhaps those commodities are a problem. I think gold's had a good bounce back, but I think that's just ended. I don't really see gold getting much through 1200. The sort of 1215, 1220 area is going to be a lot of resistance, and I've got a feeling we're not going to get through there. Obviously, oil is all now down to OPEC, so I'm not going to try and guess where that's going until we see what OPEC says.
Okay. All right. We are really going to let you go this time.
Okay,
Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Jason.
great, thanks. Thank you so much.